Have you ever wondered why this podcast is called Fully In It? This is a philosophy and a way of being that I love holding as a mom, a leader, and a business owner. And on today's episode, we're going to dig into what it really means and how to cultivate this way of being within yourself. But caution, listening to this episode may very well change your life. If you want to be the kind of woman who is fully in it, let's go ahead and dig right in. Welcome to Fully In It, a show for moms who are called to grow themselves while growing their families. Join me, Kate Saffel, a life and a business coach for moms, a homeschooling mama of 3, and a woman on a quest to show that our lives become even more meaningful when we remember why we are here and what truly matters most. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in motherhood, entrepreneurship, in your home life, and for your family vision. Join me for weekly episodes that will inspire you to live intentionally and by your values, to slow down and truly be present to your family life, to make decisions that grow a profitable business without sacrificing anything in the process, and to become the kind of mom and woman you know you're meant to be in this lifetime. So I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. This episode has the ability to change everything for you if you let it. There are $1 million dream life kind of thoughts embedded into this episode, and I strongly encourage you to borrow them and try them on for yourself. Make sure that you are truly listening to this episode because this is going to be one for the books. Everything I've experienced in the last 7 years is because of the Fully In It philosophy. I hit a point years ago where I was tired of who I was being. I was tired of my excuses, tired of my negativity, tired of my life being a repeat of the same crummy circumstances over and over. Are you raising your hand with me and saying, yes, I feel this too? Listen, you always have a choice to be reactive to your life, to believe you can't change it, and to be a victim to your circumstances. Or you can decide to become the woman who has the life she has always dreamed of. This path is the steeper one. It will require much change out of you, but the rewards are beyond anything you can imagine right now. Yes, there are physical rewards like making more money, living out your dream experiences, and taking care of your family at a higher level. But the most impactful reward is becoming the person you said you would be. Witnessing to your own personal growth and marveling at how far you've come. Being the example of what's possible for mothers, for your children, and your community. Any moment, even this one, can be your line in the sand moment, where you're fed up enough to actually change. But as a brilliant mindset coach said recently, the longer you wait to change, the harder it will be. So stop waiting and start becoming. This episode will help you do it. So let's go ahead and get on with it. So this podcast has gone through 3 name changes in its almost 7 years. The first one was called Streamlined Motherhood. And this was when my business was focused on simplifying, decluttering, family life, and motherhood. And my business was called The Streamlined Life. Now, the second iteration came about in 2021, and I renamed it Happier in Motherhood. This was when I shifted my business focus more to inner work and personal growth to help women feel more fulfilled, go after their dreams, and create a family life they loved. And then eventually, I evolved past that as well. And during Hurricane Ian in, what year was that? I think maybe 2022. Kirk and I were talking in a hotel lobby because at the time we were living in our fifth wheel still. We'd just come off the travel life. And so we darted over to a different side of Florida that wasn't impacted by the hurricane. And we were staying at a hotel and we were having a conversation about this podcast. And I was telling him how the name just didn't quite fit anymore, even though that's still my website name. It didn't quite encompass everything I wanted this podcast to be. And he said, you know what, Kate, you're so fully in it. And I was like, cool. And he was like, maybe that should be your name. And as a business owner, someone who is coaching on business, I realized that this name now fully does encompass what it means to be present and all in as a mom and a business owner. So what does it actually mean to be fully in it, and what keeps you from being that kind of person? Let's talk first about what will keep you from being fully in it, because that way you're going to see it and you can grow beyond these behaviors. And just so that we are clear, these are things that most people do. We live in a world that honestly encourages these kind of behaviors. It's in the home you grew up in, it's in the schools, it's on TV shows and movies, and it gets embedded into the way we lead ourselves. And if you notice any of these qualities in yourself, this is not a time to judge yourself at all. There's no shame, but let it motivate you and encourage you to become the woman who is fully in it. So let's briefly talk through each of these. The first characteristic that is going to keep you from being fully in it is negativity. The human brain is wired for negativity because it's a way to create safety in what is perceived as a dangerous world. So your brain is always going to focus on things that could go wrong and worst case scenarios. This tendency will keep you locked in unhelpful patterns and living a life that doesn't fulfill you. You know you're dealing with negative thinking when you do the following things. You say no a lot, right? Like that's kind of your default response. When someone is trying to encourage you or speak possibility to you, you may say, yeah, but, and then have a reason why it wouldn't work for you. You focus on worst case scenarios instead of the best possibilities. You also struggle to feel grateful for what you already have, and you worry a lot. These are all indicators that you are stuck in a pattern of negativity. And as someone who used to be really, really negative, I promise you, you can break free of it. And the freedom on the other side is so much better than living stuck in the negativity. So I strongly encourage you to break this pattern. The second one is excuses. This is where you are making excuses for why you can't do what you want to do. You do have goals and plans that matter to you. You think about the future, but when you actually go to do the thing, you always have a reason why now is not a good time or why you can't. Excuses are truly the easy way out because in the moment, you can rationalize to yourself why you're backing out and it feels like you have a good reason. But there is never a good reason to back out of your goals and dreams. The third pattern you want to look for is comparison. And this is you looking outside of yourself at what other people are doing and always sizing yourself up against them. You allow yourself to be derailed with comparison, and this keeps you from fully committing to your goals and dreams. You tell yourself that other people are doing it better. Other people are farther along. I'll never be like so-and-so, so I might as well not do it. Listen, comparison, just like excuses, is an easy way out because you can rationalize why you shouldn't do the thing you're called to do. All of these reasons, all of these patterns, the comparison, the excuses, and the negative thinking do not have to be your norm any longer. If you're ready to shift into being the woman who is fully in it, here's what you want to focus on instead. Being fully in it is just who you are, and it is an identity that you can evolve into. This is where you are the kind of person who commits and stays true to that commitment. You're the kind of woman who shows up with full presence for her family, herself, and her business. Now, this doesn't mean you're perfect at all by any means, but it does mean that this is your baseline. You don't do mediocre work. but you give your personal best as often as you can, while also allowing yourself to be an imperfect and evolving human. You have deep grace and compassion for yourself, but you don't let that grace and compassion keep you from moving forward. So part of this identity is being someone who is willing to evolve, is willing to learn. And for me personally, I've been in quite a few masterminds over the years, and I often went into spaces that were way bigger than my current reality. And so I would adopt a mentality of becoming the best student in the room. And what this meant for me was that I may not make the most money or have the biggest change in my life, but I could commit fully to doing the work, to applying everything that my coach taught me and coached me on, and be willing to evolve and change. And having this attitude of being the best student in the room has served me so deeply, because I have experienced rapid, mind-boggling growth that most people never experience in their life. So the most important thing you can do is see yourself as that kind of person. You can cultivate this by shifting how you speak about yourself to others and to yourself. Because the truth is that your self-talk will derail you, or it can keep you on track, and it all depends on what you are saying to you. So how can you decide to become her and keep recommitting to this version of you? One of my favorite phrases is, "This is just who I am." It is anchoring in that belief that I am that kind of woman. The second way you know that you are fully in it is that you keep your word to yourself and to others. This is so important. In a world that breaks promises all the time, we see politicians lying directly to our faces. We see people on social media acting like they're one way, and then in real life, there's something completely different. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to say one thing and do another. And so what this looks like is when you have an idea of something you need to do to grow into the person you're meant to be. Like maybe that's waking up at 5 a.m. You actually do it. You don't just say you're going to do it and then hit the snooze. You become the woman who follows through on what she said she was going to do. So for example, I'm recording this podcast right now at 7 a.m. I got up at 5 a.m. And when my alarm went off, I thought, I don't want to get up. And then I thought about, who do I want to be today? And I'll ask myself that question, who am I going to be today? The decision you make as soon as you open your eyes, or even maybe before you open your eyes and you're just laying there in your warm bed, that decision will influence your entire day. So if you say you're going to do something, you do it. And this is less about how others see you, although that does matter, but it's really about how you see you. Can you rely on you? One of the things we say in the coaching world is, what if your clients could see you right now? What would they see? And what this means specifically is we, as coaches, right? And maybe you're a coach, maybe you're not. We are cultivators of change. We show what is possible. And part of this is living in our own breakthroughs and doing what we said we were going to do. So if we're coaching our clients on strategy or mindset, but we're not doing it ourselves, that's out of integrity. So we think about wow, if my clients could peer into my home right now and see who I'm being and how I'm leading both as a mom and a business owner, would they be inspired by it? Or would they be ew, what is she doing? So, and again, this isn't a pressure thing. It's just a reminder that who we are being on and off the screen, it matters deeply, and people can feel that integrity. And again, like I said earlier, this is so important in a world where fakeness and lying is normal. We don't want to be those people, and we want to live with integrity and truth. This matters so much. The final way you know that you are fully in it is you are motivated by what you believe is possible for you and your family, and you take action on it. That's a really important part of it. You will hold a powerful vision for your family that fuels you forward. It gets you out of bed in the morning. And this is less about likes and engagement and external factors as much as it is about the internal shift and becoming the woman who can lead her family to that vision. So each big goal I've personally set for myself have required I recommit to being fully in it. I am a normal human being, and I have my times where I'm not really feeling like going after things at this big level. And so I have to remind myself of what my vision is and who I am. And this has meant visualizing the outcome of that goal and seeing myself in it. Like I could close my eyes and I'm there. I can feel into it. It also means holding the belief of my future self. This is a whole concept in itself that I can't teach right now, but this means like you are thinking and being as your future self, but in the present moment. And this is like, just adding fuel to the fire. It gets you there so much faster. And then also each day showing up for everything as if my goals and dreams are a done deal. I've already decided I'm there. And that influences your actions. You take different actions when your belief is that strong. But here's what I want to remind you is that you can be motivated by what you believe is possible for you and your family. You can take the actions that will get you there. But you would do all of this no matter what the outcome is, because it's just who you are. As we wrap up this episode, I want you to know that I see how powerful and capable you are. If this episode has moved you, today is the day to truly commit to being fully in it. Now, I normally don't share these kind of details or things that I'm working through on my podcast, but as I was scripting this episode, I felt inspired to share this with you. I am thinking of bringing back my personal growth and inner work mastermind for moms called Expansive. This is a small group container where we work as a team to identify and overcome what's been holding you back, get clear on who it is you are truly meant to be, and help you become her rapidly. This is for all moms, not just entrepreneurs. This is the space where you draw a line in the sand and say, I am no longer going to be the woman who makes excuses, who compares, who is sleeping on her dreams. And I am committing to becoming the version of me who does what she says she'll do, is taking action on her dreams, and living each day fully and with purpose. The last time I ran this group, the results were powerful. One of the women took action on her dream of becoming a published author. One actualized her dream home and moved her family into it, and 2 of them launched their businesses. There were other results we saw too that were just an impact of the work that we were doing together. They saw improvements in their overall health. Their relationships deepened, their self-confidence and self-trust skyrocketed, and they all became women who now lead themselves with intention and purpose. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to limit this mastermind to probably 5 women, and I'm planning on opening it up soon. But I want to know, are you one of the 5? Are you going to be the type of person who claims a spot before I even officially open doors for enrollment? Let me know. Send me a message on Instagram at Happier in Motherhood if that is you. I would love to hear from you. Okay, my loves, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I would just love to hear your feedback, how you felt by the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week.